In September, I participated in a workshop in Massachusetts with an author named Elizabeth Gilbert, the author that wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and Big Magic. It was a workshop on tapping into your creative potential. And when I felt a strong pull to go to that workshop, I thought it was because I was supposed to interact with Elizabeth Gilbert in some meaningful way. It turns out it was about Dr. Tererai Trent. Elizabeth Gilbert is very dedicated to raising up voices of Black, Indigenous, people of color to do workshops with her, and she chose Dr. Trent to co-facilitate this engagement with her. And after I spent a weekend with Tererai in Massachusetts learning of her story, I was so deeply moved and inspired by who she is, how she shows up in the world, her indomitable spirit to break the chains of intergenerational poverty and misogyny. I knew I wanted to help her out. So a little bit about Tererai's story. She was a child bride at age 11. She was traded for a cow to an abusive older man, had her first of several children at age 14. She was refused an education. As a little girl, she wanted nothing more than to go to school, but she had to sneak her brother's homework to be able to try to teach herself. And yet, she never ever gave up on this dream that she wanted to have an education. So in her 20s, she had a woman visit her village from Heifer International who asked her, "What are your dreams, Tererai?" And without hesitation, she says, "I'm going to go to America. I'm going to get a GED, a bachelor's, a master's, and a PhD." And this woman says to her, "It is achievable." And in Tererai's native language, that is Tinagona. It is achievable. And that is what Tererai believed as well. She spoke to her mother about her dreams, and her mother encouraged her, write them down and bury them in the earth. In the same way that we bury our umbilical cords when the children is born, your earth mother will always nurture and sustain you and support your dreams. So that's what she did. Believe it or not, she achieved all of those dreams, but her mother asked her to do one important thing, to write down, why are you doing this? What is the dream for? Well, your dreams will have more potency if they're meant to serve other people. And Tererai said, I want to build schools. I want to have other children receive an education. So after finding her way to America, after getting her bachelor's, her master's, and her PhD, she winds up on the Oprah Winfrey show. And not once, but twice. And on the second visit, Oprah gave $1.5 million to build schools and partnered Save the Children with her organization, the Tinagona Foundation, to train people and bring educational standards up in the village and offer supplies. Tererai's gone on to build additional schools. There are 12 in her network now. And when I talked to her about her programs and was inspired to help her, one of the things I discovered is that 8 of her 12 schools don't yet have running water. And as a legislator and public policy advocate, I've always worked on access to clean water. I worked to ban fracking here in Maryland to protect our water supplies. I took a strong stand with Dakota people at Standing Rock to keep the KXL pipeline from ruining the aquifers and the indigenous access to water there. Having access to clean water, Mini Wachoni, water is life. And if these children don't have access to water, they also don't have access to food. When a school gets water, they're also getting a garden. And I said, oh, Tererai, this is a perfect project for both my farm and our garden and work to connect people to food and land and medicines, but also my nonprofit organization, the We Are One Alliance. I'm going to collaborate with you. I'm going to raise $60,000 to help you build those wells. And our friends in Maryland are going to help us do that. And as I thought about how to raise that money, I thought, yes, I can call up donors who supported me in my congressional campaign and other ventures to raise this money, and that's what we've been doing. But along the way, the most important thing I can think of is for other people to get to meet Tererai and to be inspired by her. So I asked if she would be willing, in exchange for this work I am doing with her, to come to our community and do a free public lecture for the community so that people can come and hear more about her story and be equally inspired. Because what she really helps people do is dig deep into remembering and igniting and nurturing the sacred dream that we all have. Each of us were born with a sacred dream. And A Night with Tererai Trent will absolutely help you tap into what is that sacred dream for you. Yes, I am excited that in addition to raising this money for her programs, I am going to travel to her village. She is from a village called Matau in Zimbabwe. And in June, I'm going on a trip to be in the village to interact with the village elders and the school children, to see the schools and to see the wells that we are building. I've always focused so much of my work domestically, in part because of that real tangible ability to see the impact of the work. And international work has felt a bit far removed for me. And I always kind of wondered, well, if I'm involved in that, is the money really going where the project is? And the opportunity to both get to know Tererai personally, to see the great work that her organization is doing. I've always done domestic work in large measure because I can see the impact of it so immediately, and there's so many needs in our own communities. But this notion of we are one transcends just our own local community, our state, or even our country. We're one world, we're one earth, we're one humanity. And when people don't have access to basic things like water and food, a good education, it stirs something, I think, in all of us. But that connection with Tererai, meeting her, knowing her, connecting to her organization, and having a chance to go directly to her village this summer and see the impact of our collective investment in her vision is something I'm very much looking forward to. And while the lecture is free and open to the public, we'll have a donation link available if people feel moved to give in any amount. You know, every $5, $10, $20 counts. Some people I've been calling are giving larger amounts, but that's how we make our way to the $60,000 goal, and we're over halfway there. I like to let my heart lead me. I never had Africa on my bucket list. I never thought I would be traveling to Africa, but I never knew I was going to meet Tererai Trent and become so deeply inspired by her story and to feel that resonance. A lot of what I like to teach, whether I'm a public official engaging with people in their living rooms and having a dialogue about the issues of the day impacting our own local community, or how to interact with each other in the work that I do at the We Are One Alliance, and disrupting the division and understanding that we're stronger together. So much of this work to me is about manifesting a certain clarity of vision and a wisdom of the heart that guides and leads us always. And I'm open to service and however it is I get called. I never dreamed I was going to run for Congress either. I had no intention of jumping in and running for Congress in the 1st Congressional District in 2022, but I was motivated by my heart to address some deep wounds that I was seeing in our community that came out as a result of the events of January 6th. So I walk in this world with a big open heart, a desire to serve, a sacred dream of connecting people to their own hearts and their own goodness for making a difference in the world. So I'm just ready to jump in and be of service wherever I feel called. And in this particular case, it's engagement in some international work. However, I will be announcing very soon quite a few new programs that are going to be offered under my nonprofit that are an announcement to get excited about. So Tererai is an author of a book called The Awakened Woman, and it has a foreword by Oprah Winfrey. And I'll tell you, the very unique thing about that is Oprah Winfrey doesn't do forewords to books. She has an ironclad rule against it. You can imagine, everyone wants Oprah to give a foreword to their book, but she did this for Tererai. And one of the things that she wrote is, one of the most inspirational people I've met in all my years of interviewing, Tererai has a personal story that will bring you to tears and make you cheer. Her perseverance, commitment, and hopefulness are a salve to even the weariest of spirits. And I know I can endorse that sentiment in the time I have had to spend with Tererai. And that's why I'm just so incredibly excited to bring her here to our community. We're going to be at Washington College at Decker Theater on Tuesday, March 5th. At 4 o'clock, Tererai is going to do a book signing, and the book plate is got extra copies of the book. Grab it, read it, bring it at 4 o'clock, and Tererai will sign it for you. 5 o'clock lecture, and there'll be a reception to follow. This truly is a very, very special evening for our Eastern Shore community, and I really hope everyone will put it on their calendar and be here for an inspirational night.
Cool.